Hi, welcome. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you a message from management. So a lot of the video is kind of out of frame because, you know, it's me and I'm super professional. But also because of laziness, I'm not refilming it. And I filmed it a few weeks ago now. So feel free to enjoy. It's really great quality as per usual, as you should expect forever. We'll be back to, you know, your regularly scheduled programming some point soon. Life is hectic. Cool, bye. Now back to eyebrows. So I haven't filmed a video in a few weeks and my computer just crashed. So let's talk about eyebrows. No, but for real, let's have a later topic. And it was requested by my new friend Live for Derby here on YouTube and on Instagram. So she asked me to do a kind of brow routine situation, so here we are. Also, my eyebrows are kind of grown in right now, so I figured this was a great time to film this because I'm going out later, and shaping your eyebrow is the first step of eyebrows, I guess. 80% of my eyebrows comes just from removing the hairs I don't want. So let's get into it. So I'm gonna zoom in a second, but what I usually do is tweezers. I tweeze out the hairs I don't want to shape it, and then in between that, or if I just don't feel like tweezing, I will use one of these little eyebrow face shaver thingies. They usually come in a 3-pack for $1 or $2. It's chill. And we're gonna zoom. So here we are on my naked face. Let's get even closer. As you can see, this eyebrow is kind of grown in. There's hairs all up in here that I don't really want or need there. So you can still see the, you know, main shape of the eyebrow. If I let them fully grow in, the shape itself kind of changes a little bit, but they're not in enough for that to happen because, trust, they get worse. So I'm just in a mirror and I'm just gonna start removing all these that I don't want. And before I get up into here, I usually just remove all these outliers that I know for a fact just shouldn't be here, and it makes the rest of my makeup and everything easier if they're just, you know, not present. And wow, they're pretty in at the moment. Cool. So I was blessed or cursed with a family brow that does this from my grandfather that was given to my mother and then my sister and I. So with this family brow, what happens is it'll kind of grow out. For some, it flicks up. Mine don't do that, but it grows down. So basically, this whole part to your eyelid, your whole brow bone will just have hair scattered throughout and then kind of creep out. So this will obviously be different for everyone depending on your eyebrows. So you just want to go ahead and kind of create the shape that you want. For me, that means starting off by removing all of this really random excess. So now that we're getting more up into the actual eyebrow, I will kind of use my finger and push and brush the hairs up out of the way just so I can see the arch and anything that's kind of hiding in there. And we're just gonna pull out anything. It's better to go slow and kind of assess after you pull out each hair because you don't want to accidentally overpluck and kind of ruin your whole shape and then have to try to match that and or you know, fully paint in a mistake. So it's better to go kind of slow and assess it as you go just to make sure that you're staying on the shape you're going for. I'm not quite done yet, but you can see that it's a lot you know, just sharper, cleaner, things are happening. So now I'm just gonna go in with this because I don't feel like going in and grabbing every small little faint hair, but I don't really want them to be there. So I'm just gonna go in with one of these little thingies and I'm just gonna, you know, go over the area I just went just to catch any small little ones that I didn't grab. And then I'm also going to slightly clean up the kind of upper area. Just gonna hold it at an angle and follow all this. Luckily I don't have any creeping in unibrow type of situation. We're ignoring what's happening on my forehead, by the way. Just in case you were wondering, we're ignoring her. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this eyebrow and then I don't know if it's really pick up on camera, but this eyebrow is just a lot cleaner than this one. So it gives me an easier base to work with when I want to kind of snatch my brow with makeup. It just makes all of it a lot easier if your eyebrow is already where she needs to be. Obviously this won't apply if you have a naturally thinner brow than you're trying to go for. I have a pretty thick dark eyebrow situation. And really until like this year, I didn't pay much attention to them until I let them grow back in from shaving them off and drawing them back on, or just having no eyebrows. Because before that, I didn't shape them that much. I just removed those, you know, scattered eyelid eyebrow hairs, but I didn't really go into shaping them, and I didn't really fill them in because at that point the trend was not to have bold eyebrows, and I have dark eyebrows, and that was like a no at that point. And I guess I was listening to the trends situation and that kind of beauty standard. So I basically just put foundation in my eyebrows and ignored them. So not today. Now we pay some attention to them, which we'll get to once I have the rest of my makeup on and I pop back. So hopefully this isn't a long video just about eyebrows. Okay, so we're back. I've got my eye makeup done. I know some people like to do brows before, but I like to wait until I have my face on and I'm done my eyes. That way I can use the concealer to clean up the brow and then also clean up any eyeshadow. I don't remember which eyebrow I started with earlier. Whatever, we'll do this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and just brush through the eyebrow real quick. Then I'm gonna take a thin angled brush. This is actually an eyeliner brush, and I'm going to use a pomade. This is the NYX Tame and Frame in black. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for a few reasons. Step one, it dries out really easy, like real fast. It dries out. It doesn't have a long life, I guess, before it starts to dry out. And two, it's made by NYX, who is owned by L'Oreal, and I'm not buying from them anymore, so wouldn't really recommend it. Now that mine is dried out, it's harder to work with, but it's what I've got, and it's what I've got in the right color. So I'm just using a pomade, and I started by lightly tracing out the bottom line. At this point, I don't come all the way to the center of where I want the brow to be because I would have too much product on the brush and I want it to kind of feather into there. So I'm coming in about here and I'm just going along this and making it as sharp as I would like. I usually like it pretty sharp, and then I extend the tail out a little bit. If mine wasn't dried out, it would be sharper, but you know, work with what you got. I'm just going to take some more product and I'm going to start about the same place but on the top, and I'm basically just outlining and then filling in. I'm just gonna follow the shape I want. You can angle it up more. You know, here you can really play with the arch. But I'm just gonna follow what I already did earlier with shaping the brow pretty much. And with what's left on the brush, I'm gonna start kind of brushing up and out, and then I'm gonna start to feather, now that there's not a lot of product on the brush, towards this area, which is where I will try to mimic the direction of the natural hair. So I'm just gonna follow that. And since I don't have a lot of product on the brush, this is helping me just blend it in and be a more feathered kind of ombre really easily without, you know, using multiple colors or anything like that. I'm gonna change directions at the end. And since there's not a lot, it just gives you a little bit of a feather, and it just helps it stay kind of natural. Natural-ish. I actually went a little bit out up here, so I'm just going to kind of rub that off a little bit. Pick up some more product and make sure that all this is filled in as I like. I like the tail to be the deepest, darkest point, so I want that to be very saturated and filled in, just to create that really sharp depth there, because like that's what I do. And it's okay if this isn't as clean as you would like, because you can do it with concealer. For me, I don't like to clean up the top at all, just because I don't feel like doing that. So instead I just keep it to this side, so this is where I'm going to really bring in the sharpness. Now to make sure that everything is like blending through and everything's in the right direction, I'm going to go back into that brush and just brush through real quick. If this got a little bit too dark, you can brush this direction to really like wipe the product in this way. Okay, so then just to continue the fill-in, add some dimension and hold the hairs in place, I'm going to use this little brow gel by Essence. It's in the color. It's like super cheap. It's like $3 and I like it. I mean, I haven't tried any other brow gels to be honest, but I like it. It does what I need it to do. So I like to, at the front, run down and then up just to define any of the like small hairs that are gonna help this ombre situation. And because, like I said, my eyebrows don't creep in. Actually, my eyebrows start kind of like here. So I like to pull them in just a little bit. Just like the opposite of what a lot of people do. But I have kind of short eyebrows, so I like to lengthen it just a teeny bit here, fade it in a little bit, and then pull the tail. And this will help hold the hairs in like the direction that you would like them to be. And then for blending purposes, I'm just gonna go ahead with this brush that I've been using and just brush through it again with this spoolie. So now I'm gonna take a teeny little brush. Sometimes I use a slightly bigger one, whatever. You just want something kind of precise. And I'm gonna take a concealer. I like to use a cream concealer for this. And I'm gonna start here. And I'm just gonna outline it again, basically. Like I'm underlining this brow shape and cleaning up anything I need to. We didn't really get out of hand today, so there's not a lot of cleanup to happen, so that's nice. And I like to kind of take this on the whole brow bone and feather it this way. So then I can use my finger and tap it out to blend it into the skin. And over in this part, since I always wing out my eyeshadow, I can use this to help clean up anything that started to get a little bit out of where I wanted it to be. So I'm just going to take a little bit of setting powder on an eyeshadow brush, and I'm just going to dust this over that concealer, lock that in, make it blend more with the rest of the set face. And then I'm just going to take the same brush, dip into the highlighter I used on my face. Sometimes I use a different color, sometimes I just use a shiny eyeshadow, whatever, and I'm just going to highlight that. Just buff this into this brow bone. And I'll take a little bit up here. That really just pulls the brow together. And then I like to go back to the blending brush I was using in the eyeshadow just to marry that together. So I'm just going to lightly sweep over them to really merge the two together. So there's not like any line where this concealed, highlighted brow bone meets the eyeshadow. Now they're just one cohesive piece. And eyebrows. So yeah, I still have to go get like dressed and stuff, but that's how I do my eyebrows. I hope this helped and like answered any questions about the pressing topic. I also like that I just made a video that was like,
ooh, I've changed. I don't really want to make makeup tutorials anymore. Like I want to make different stuff.
And now I'm making a whole video about how I paint on my eyebrows. But like I said, I will return to it sometimes. And if there's ever anything you want me to make a video on, or something you see me doing on my face that like you wanna see how I did it, you can always leave a comment or like send me a message and maybe I can do that. So yeah, you know, just let me know if there's ever anything that you wanna see. I guess that's it. We come in peace. Subscribe for new videos whenever they get posted. Social media grab in the description. Okay, bye.
Also, as per usual, I pretty much exclusively have Cadaver Cosmetics on my eyes because I made the eyeshadows because I wanted them and I like them. So yeah. I mean, I like my eyebrows. So